I didn't want to do it. I never thought I would ever do it. He links me and Kenny up, and Kenny becomes Montez Ford. It's just like, you think you can come up with something for Cody? I had to say things to this dude that I can't say on this call. They started walking up to them, asking them, where you guys getting your stuff designed at? Because it's different. I can be on stage with Busta Rhymes and have 10,000 people in the audience right there. It's all about understanding the characters. Like, see, now I'm going to get more heat from AEW people.
And we are on the air again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your favorite story time pro wrestling show. We like to call it Behind the Turnbuckle. You can call it BTT. I'm the coach. That is my partner, Big Tommy C. Tommy, are you ready for another banger of an episode?
Yes, I am, Coach. It's been another great week, and we have a great guest today, and I can't wait till we get into it with this guy. He is so unique, and you're going to find stuff out, folks, that you never knew what goes on in this business.
So part of the reason, if you're new, and we have so many new fans and viewers coming in, Tommy, every single week, we started Behind the Turnbuckle for a couple of reasons. But we wanted to highlight so many different parts of the business, not just the big stars, not just the wrestlers. And people have seen, we've had Cody Rhodes, we've had DDP, we've had Hurricane Helms. We've also had Tony Chimmel, ring announcer, Johnny Photo, photographer. And today we have one of the top designers in the wrestling business that's worked with many of the top stars. You'll get ready to hear those stories. But Tommy, I could not be more proud of where we are right now with Behind the Turnbuckle. And I can see where we're going to be for the next 15 or 20 years. We're important in this business. And I think we filled a niche that was not being filled before. Do you feel that?
Absolutely, Coach. You know why? Because we're the real deal, Coach. We've been there. We've been in the production meetings. We've been to the events. We did TV for years. We're not some podcaster who knows nothing about this business. We worked for the company, the main company, and we know everything.
Wait. Let me interrupt you. Are you saying there's podcasts out there of people who've never been backstage, never been in a production meeting, have no clue what it's like to put a mat? There are shows like that, Tommy?
Yeah, there are. They're all over TikTok, Coach. They do these watchings and they think they know what they're talking about. And I'm like, who's this jabroni? Like, I'm sorry, I'm being stiff here, but I was in the business 32. You're over 20 something. We got 45 years. We're the real deal, folks. So you want to hear something about the business? Come to Behind the Turnbuckle.
That's exactly right. Well over 45 years collectively inside of the WWE. Now, a couple of announcements before we get to Rodney Caldwell, who is standing by as we speak. We launched in the last week a brand new premium service, and we had our first live Q&A this past Tuesday night. We want you to be a part of it. There's all over our page on our social media. We'll be posting about it. It's called BTT Plus. And Tommy, we have a new show called The War Room, where you and I argue about the top storylines of the week in professional wrestling. Live Q&As. We're going to be doing watch-alongs. We've got a big thing planned for SummerSlam. So kind of tell the people what BTT Plus in your mind is all about, sir.
It's exclusive content from myself and the coach. Like he said, we're going to do something for SummerSlam. You're going to get stuff that you never even seen or heard before from me and the coach and other folks that might be joining us on BTT Plus. So get on it, folks. Don't miss out. We are going big time places.
That's right. We had a lot of good questions this past Tuesday. I think the thing that we love about it the most is we want you guys to control what we do. And there's so many questions you might have to make yourself a smarter pro wrestling fan. That's why we're here. We'll answer the questions just for you. Now, one other little thing, Tommy. I feel like Raw and SmackDown, normally when you get into June and July, when we were there, it was kind of the slow months, kind of getting through to get to SummerSlam. But this thing is red hot. With the bloodline and what they did to Paul Heyman last Friday on SmackDown, with the Wyatt Six showing up against this week, with Jey Uso kicking off Raw in Boston, the NBA Championship City, they are red hot at a time that normally, Tommy, they are not.
Yeah, it's the hottest I've ever seen it, Coach, with the Wyatt Six coming out and what the bloodline did to the Wise Men is just unbelievable. And who knows where that's going to go. You got Gable, you got Drew McIntyre, you got Jey Uso, one of the hottest entrances going on here in the WWE. There is so much going on where you think like sometimes there's been a lull in June and July. So they're ramping it up big time at WWE.
So we have a lead designer coming up literally in a matter of moments, and there was 2 shirts I saw last night or earlier this week on Monday Night Raw, and that was Liv's. Liv is now on top shirt. Interesting. And how about Drew McIntyre's new shirt with the DM Hunk
Yeah.
shirt playing off the CM Punk name? I think it's
Yep.
very, very creative.
Yeah. Very creative. And I also liked Sheamus's Bangers and Bangers. He had the green shirt. He came out. It took a lot to think of that one, but it's pretty sharp and it'll sell. But I really like Drew McIntyre's. They put some thought into that, and it looks sharp. And it's a good looking shirt.
It really, really is. And for those of you watching right now, understand that more than just the persona and the character, you got to have everything that goes with it, whether it's a T-shirt, whether it's music, or whether it's your ring gear. So without further ado, let's welcome in for the first time ever right here on Behind the Turnbuckle, one of the lead designers in all of pro wrestling, not just WWE, but AEW as well. Please welcome Rodney Caldwell.
The following announcement has been paid for by Behind the Turnbuckle Plus, the new pod order. BTT Plus. Yeah, it's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. BTT Plus. Oh, it's extra content right here, chicos. Think about it. BTT Plus, taking over the pod game. Live Q&As, watch-alongs, new shows. BTT. Is that okay, Big Tommy? Enter the war room, turnbuckle style. Plus. It's the new way. We call it BTT Plus. The genesis has begun. The beginning of the new pod order. BTT. Everybody wants to know what to do next. Well, just scan the code. The pod revolution BTT Plus starts now. The preceding announcement has been paid for by Behind the Turnbuckle Plus, new pod order.
You guys know what Behind the Turnbuckle is all about. It can't just be about wrestling in the ring and all the top superstars. There are jobs and important people everywhere. This man right here is one of those people. Please welcome Rodney Caldwell to the show. Rodney, let's start with this. How do people know you even though they may not really know you? Introduce yourself.
Okay, so basically, people know me because everything all the fly stuff that you see the Street Prop is wearing, like all the bling bling, iced out, crystalled out stuff that you see them wearing, everything that you see Cody wearing since last summer, LA Knight, Bobby Lashley, some of Jade's stuff that she wears. It's because of me and my partner, JD Hoop. And also the other amazing gear makers that I work with, like the legendary Miss Sandra Gray, who you actually know.
Yes.
Actually, I was on the phone with her before we started the interview, and she was telling me, boy, tell Coach I said hi.
What a sweetheart. What a sweetheart.
Hey, we all know a career in design is really tough. A career in wrestling design is even tougher. How did you know this was going to be your passion?
All right, so this is a funny story. I didn't want to do it. I never thought I would ever do it. I'm friends with Kenneth Crawford, aka Montez Ford. He's one of my buddies, and me and him would talk sneakers and catch up because my friend who works down at NXT, Ryan Katz, who's actually my son's godfather, one of my best friends. He's a producer down there, promo coach. He brought in this kid back in like 2016, named Kenneth Crawford. He calls me. He says, "Hey, Rod, it's a really cool kid here. He raps. He's into dancing. I got to figure out something for him because he's going to be a star." So he links me and Kenny up, and Kenny becomes Montez Ford. And a couple years ago, we're on the phone chatting it up, and he just says to me, "Man, I need some gear. Like, I need something better than what we wearing right now. Like, come on." Like, and I said, "I can try." And he was like, "For real?" I was like, "I got a homie that does graphic design. I'll hit him up, and then me and him could collaborate on something. Because even if I don't know how to use the damn program, Hoop got it." So I went ahead and I hit up Hoop, and Hoop was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And then Hoop just tells me, "You should get Photoshop too, man, so you can learn how to use it." And that day, I got Photoshop. I didn't know a damn thing about Photoshop. I started using Photoshop and he would walk me through each thing, and then boom, we just been rocking and rolling. So that first outfit that the Street Profits wore that was ours was in Money in the Bank 2022. It was a burgundy with SP gold SPs all over it, and it had like so. Basically, I'm a huge hip hop fan. I'm a DJ as well. I used to be a b-boy back in the day, and Eric B and Rakim, they're the man. You know, we know Eric B and Rakim. So on the cover of one of their albums, they're sitting on the car, they're sitting on their Mercedes Benz side by side, and they got on these Gucci Dapper Dan outfits that are just so cold. And I seen that, and I always thought in my head, I was like, that shit would be real nice on Kenny and Gary. And I was like, so I put it together with Hoop, and then boom, they seen it and they were like, yo, this is it. This is it. So that from that, then other people started calling. Like they started walking up to them, asking them, where you guys getting your stuff designed at? Because it's different because everybody, you can tell a lot of people get their stuff made by the same person because they have a certain style. We pride ourselves in when we do something, it is specific to that individual's character and who they are. It is not trying to look like that person or this person over there. No, you'll never catch any of the people that we work with looking similar. They all have their own unique style.
That is so important, Rodney, because and also the word of mouth in the wrestling business is so important because of trust. And to trust yourself when you're going to be on in front of millions of people is a big deal. So let's start talking about some of the names that you've already mentioned. Let's start with Cody Rhodes, who's arguably the biggest star in wrestling right now. What was it like to get the opportunity to collaborate with him and then execute with him?
It's really big, 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 especially right now because Cody Rhodes is this generation's John Cena.
Yes.
You know, he's becoming a household name. He's the hugest star in wrestling right now. And Miss Sandra, she just says to me after we worked with the Street Profits for so long, she's like, "You think you can come up with something for Cody?" And Hoop had already sketched by hand. He sketched this coat for Cody last summer, and he sends it in to me, and she sends it over to Cody, and Cody sends back like Cody has two things he says if you like something. Oh, that's cool. And, and let's go with that. That's what he says. That's his answer. It's not a long sentence that I love it. It's just that's cool. I love it. Let's go with that. That's it.
He said the same thing, Rodney, when he was here on the show. So, Tommy, apparently he loved being with us here on the show. He said the same thing to us. So, but let me take it a step further because that jacket, I know they made stuff over in Saudi Arabia. There's a museum that's gone up. When you work on something, do you have any idea? Because that thing is going to be iconic. That look, that jacket, kids are dressing it. They're imitating him. When you know it's going to be iconic, do you put added pressure on yourself?
I I really don't think of it that way. You know, I don't think about I've been in a lot of high pressure situations in my life, especially like doing the work that I do. So like I can be on stage with Busta Rhymes and have, 10,000 people in the audience right there.
Wow.
And and I have to perform no matter what because my reputation's on the line, everything's on the line. So, it's make it or break it. You got to handle business. So the pressure doesn't get to me, but it's iconic. Like you said, like you said something really big, Saudi Arabia. They have one of the coats that we did on display in Saudi Arabia right now. They have the Star Trek coat, is what we call it. It's a burgundy coat with gold, and it's shaped like a Star Trek uniform, and then
Wow.
the tights match it as well. They have that one on display, and when I seen that on like one of the little press releases that they posted, I was like, "Holy shit!" Like that. That's one.
That's
That's
awesome.
my stuff. That's
That's
our stuff.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, another star is L.A. Knight. Man, he's big into his gear and everything. He's into his gear. What did you do for him?
So LA Knight. So I'm from California. I'm from Southern California. And LA Knight used to wrestle out there for one of my really good friends, Angelo Trinidad, who was ran Mach 1 Wrestling, and he also did Championship Wrestling from Hollywood with Dave Marquez. Um, those are all of his guys. And before they became stars, they were wrestling Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae. All of them
Mhm.
were wrestling for him in California. Um, and LA Knight was one of those. LA Knight was actually with Percy Pringle. Percy Pringle was his manager back when he was in Championship Wrestling for Hollywood.
Wow.
And I got to meet Percy quite a few times because I did sound for them sometimes. And he's a fantastic person. But LA Knight, Angelo's the reason why, because Angelo's seen that I was doing all this stuff for all these other people, and Angelo comes to me and he's like, "Rod, why aren't you doing Ricker's gear?" I'm like, he doesn't. I ain't talked to him in years, and he's like, "I'm gonna get you together." And he like did a Facebook message, put everybody together in the chat, and was like, "Sean, this remember Rod? He does gear now. He does all of this person, this person, this person. Get your gear from him." And Angelo's completely out of wrestling now. Like the guy's like, "I'm done." He threw the towel in, was like, "I'm done." But he still keeps up with his guys. And he was like, "Talk to Rod." And then here comes LA Knight. "All right, let me see what you got." And I just told him what my idea was, because I just remember from our interactions before he went to WWE, he was always into like sneakers. He loves Jordans. He loves basketball. He's a hip hop guy, huge hip hop guy. And like we were like we just chatted up, and I said, "Look, man, nobody's doing the elephant print right now." And he's like, "Serious? All right, let me see it." So I threw the Jordan cement print, we call it the elephant cement print, on some trunks designed for him, and that was for WrestleMania last year in 2023, 39. So we did that, and then after that, he was like, "Keep them coming, man." So we
Keep them
just
coming.
we started doing like the elephant print on a few of his gears, and that really set him apart from everybody else, because nobody had anything like that on their stuff. Because his boots are Jordan 11, like he's altered like that, like it's a custom design Jordan 11 is what he wears. Like his boots are, and then at WrestleMania he wore Jordan 12 inspired boots, because that's his thing. He loves Air Jordans, you know.
And,
So
and a lot of people don't realize that wrestlers like wrestling in tennis shoes as opposed to boots. A
yep.
lot of them do. They feel more comfortable that way. So to be able to morph them is very creative on your guys' part.
So we didn't do that. There's a bootmaker out there. His
Oh,
name is Angel Hernandez. He does Cody Rhodes boots. He does LA Knight's boots. He does a lot of people's stuff. I believe he does like all of Charlotte and Rhea Ripley as well. Fantastic boot designer. What me and Hoop did is we just did his trunks. We redesigned his jackets. We even
wow.
redesigned his logo. Made him a new really cool logo because we needed something that will pop for him, something iconic, because when you think of everyone that's out there that's ever really became something big in wrestling, they always have an iconic symbol that is
There you go.
identifiable for them.
There you
Hulk,
go.
Hulk Hogan has his Hulk rules or Hulkamania. You got Warrior had his symbol. Bret Hart had the heart with the skull and the wings. Like, and with The Rock had the Brahma Bull, the Rock on the front of his trunks. Same thing with Austin. Austin had his smoking skulls. So I've always like looked at that and thought about, you need a symbol. And he had this little symbol he was using, like the art department came up with like a little knight. So I was like, why don't we break up the knight, throw the LA coming through the night. The knight's been through battle, so let's make sure it's like chipped away and broken and stuff like that. Kind of telling the story with your outfit.
Wow. I tell you what, this is incredibly fascinating to me. If you're just joining the conversation, Rodney Caldwell, one of the top designers in pro wrestling, joining us this week here on Behind the Turnbuckle. And if you missed the first 10 minutes, I encourage you to go back and watch it because it's unbelievable, these stories and how everything ties together. And for all of you watching to understand why you come to people who've been in the business and not people who talk about the business, because this right here is the business. Now, you said at the top of the interview, Rodney, that everybody, you pride yourselves on everybody having a certain look, but to be able to have all these different characters, and I'm going to the Street Profits here because the Street Profits obviously have a different vibe than a Cody Rhodes. So how do you get and I know they were one of your first ones, but to have the Street Profits, and you got to be in that mindset and then completely shift over to a Cody Rhodes. Was that difficult to do?
Not really, because it's all about understanding the characters, like you said. Once you get that understanding, you know exactly what they are. It's very easy to just turn that back on because now I'm in this mode now. This is the mode that I'm in now. And then when Cody wants something, I turned it to, all right, red, white, and blue, gold, silver. We got to have the nightmare pieces, like the non-negotiables in there that he has to have. Cody likes a little bling bling, boom, there we go. But, doing the Street Profits, like especially over the last year, we really started doing something that was very different every single month because WrestleMania, I feel like, was like the coming out party for them with their new look, which was
Yeah.
WrestleMania 2023. The white, the gold, red, everything. It goes, everything ties into each one of the persons. So in the beginning, when I was doing the Street Profits gear, I was just doing, Montez was just telling me, hey, I want this. Let's give me some of this, throw that in there. And I really wasn't talking to Gary very much. Well, Dawkins very much. And I was like, maybe I need to talk to Dawkins more. So I shot Dawkins a message and I was like, Dawkins, tell me about yourself. And he was like, all right, I'll call you in a bit. Call me up. And what you see on TV, that is him, 100%.
Wow.
And he loves anime. He loves video games. He loves football. He loves soccer. He loves sports. He's a huge sports guy. It ain't all about music. It's about sports to him. Works his ass off. You see the videos on Instagram, how he goes to go train every single week, drives like 2 or 3 hours to Natty's place. I've been on the phone with him when he's driving back, talking about ideas with him. And, he'd be like, I got time, dog. I'd be like, all right. but uh, but it's like you look at that and you find out those things with him, and then you start to cater things towards that individual. Kenny likes stuff that's very, very flashy. He's a very flashy guy, very humble man. He has those things. He loves his wife, so we throw some little Easter eggs on his gear for his wife. And I don't know if you guys ever noticed, every single jacket that Montez Ford wears, he has a lip right here. He has that lip tattooed on his neck. That is Bianca's lips.
For those people who don't know, if you're living under a rock, Montez Ford is married to Bianca Belair, who is one of the biggest female stars in the WWE.
One of the biggest signings for WWE was Jade Cargill, right? And
Yeah.
you look at her physique, and she is just outrageous.
She's an action
What,
figure. She is an action figure.
what with her physique? How did you get to work with her and come up with her concepts? Because her outfits are just outrageous, and she could wear anything. So how wide of a spectrum was it for you to get her in something that make her look fantastic?
So Jade is a very particular person. I'll start by saying that.
I'll bet that.
But that's not a bad thing. You have to be if you want to, compete at that level. You got to know your character and know what you need to look like. She came about because of Miss Sandra. Miss Sandra, she told me, oh, Jade's going to be having a big match coming up. Can you come up with something for her? She really wants a jacket and she really wants this and that. And I go, all right, let's see what we can do. So I hit up Hoop. That's the whole genesis of every single story is Miss Sandra, then me, and then let me hit up Hoop. And I hit up Hoop, and then Hoop had already kind of like started working on something because he just wanted to try to pick something to her. So he started working on something. And Miss Sandra kind of giving me like a guideline of what she was looking for. So we did that. And then she we have to look at it because she doesn't want her body covered. Like, if you work that damn hard, you don't want to
Yeah.
cover,
That's
you
exactly
know.
right.
So you want everyone to see the fruits of your labor. So she wanted, we have to make sure that we can highlight all of her great features for her. That's what it's all about. Make sure it's not too low cut and things. And like doing women's clothing, that's one of the things that's kind of like, whoa, like, you kind of gotta think about like what they want versus like what you kind of think is going to look good, because at the same time that some women don't want to be covered as much. Some women want to be covered more. Some they like not everybody wants to walk around with their ass hanging out. Like basically
Right.
that's what it comes down to. So it's a it's a difficult thing with the women. So like you said, with the women's body, like that's a different thing. And at the same time, I'll probably just ask my wife if I make something too for a girl. I'll say, hey baby, come over here. Let me I want you to look at this. You think is this too hoochie for them, or do I need to, I need to cut it down a little bit? And she'd be like, cut it down.
So real quick before we move on, I know you're talking about the lips and how that came about. When you have a husband and a wife that are so dynamic, do they like things together or do they do everything separate?
Bianca makes all of her own clothes. Yeah.
Really?
Yes. She makes all of her own
Yeah,
stuff.
she
She
does.
makes it on the road. Like she travels with sewing kits and everything. Like she's making gear 24/7. Like the girl is talented as hell. Not only can she wrestle, not only can she act, and she's the biggest star right now in professional wrestling. She can sew as well. And she's made a couple of Montez's outfits as well. She's made a couple for him and Gary and Dawkins. I keep calling him Gary.
It
Kim,
happens. It
him and
happens.
Dawkins, and she does all of her stuff. Like I think she's had a couple outfits made by different like gear makers and stuff, but mostly she does everything for on her own. Kenny don't he'd be like, I need to look better than her.
That's hard to do. That is hard to
Hey,
do, you know?
really, really hard to do, respectfully.
So,
Yeah.
so Rodney, there's a lot of designers out there, and me and Coach have been on the road. I was on the road 6 years. Coach was on the road, as you know, as an on-air talent, and we would always see the seamstress back there working. Was there any jealousy that you know of? Because some of these people are working. When we were there, was Shawn and
Mm.
Shawn Michaels, Triple H, or anything like that. Was there any? Is there any jealousy in the business?
Um, it's like a little funny banter back and forth. Like they just ribbing each other is what I've I've heard, but um
No, we're talking between
the gear makers.
the
Yeah,
designers,
yeah.
Oh,
because
to the designers?
Yeah.
yeah,
I ain't encountered none of that myself. I've heard of
really,
some things, but
yeah.
I haven't encountered it. Maybe it's because I'm 6'2" and black, but
Roddy, when I was there, this is a true story. When I was there, because we're talking about all the positive stories, but
yeah.
there was some talent that got delivered their designs or their on the day of a big show and it wasn't right. And so then they
Ooh.
didn't want to use that designer again and they would go to somebody else who was also backstage. There was always during my time there at least 3 that were working backstage right next to each other. So
Yep.
Yeah.
there were some times, Rodney, where it was a little cold because you had
Oh
one
yeah.
make it, then another one would take that talent over. That's
Yep.
kind of what we're asking.
Yeah.
Okay. I have heard of some stuff like that, my brother. I have. I actually was in a situation with a gear designer that is out. Let's say he's in the Midwest. Okay,
Okay.
he's a Midwest gear designer. I did a couple designs for some people in WWE NXT. This Midwest gear designer takes the money. They're supposed to get the gear on a certain day. Did not send the gear at all. Didn't
Oh.
even did not send anything. I get back with that gear maker, makes an excuse that they just moved and things got messed up with the moving and everything. And I'm like, all right, well, you're gonna have to deal with this superstar
Yeah.
because you fucked up. You
Yep.
didn't send them they shit. And
Yes.
now they calling me, asking me, hey man, what's going on? Talk to your boy, do this, do that. I had to pull teeth
Oh.
for him to get this gear over there. I had to say things to this dude that I can't say on this call for this guy to deliver a pair of tights and a singlet and some trunks. There was a kid, very good kid, the Russian Bull, great big dude, Russian guy. His real name's Afghani. He wrestles like in Minnesota and Florida and everything. Guy looks like a star. He's gonna be something pretty big. And I did a singlet for him. He did. It was supposed to be black leather, the like black vinyl looking leather, like how Triple H used to wear back in the day,
Yeah.
with
Mhm.
big Russian sickle on the front and like USSR stuff all over it, and knee pads. He doesn't send us a picture of the entire process. No pictures the entire process. The guy gets the gear the day before he has to fly out for the indie show. When he gets the gear, he calls me. He's like, Rodney. He's really Russian. He's like, Rodney, it's not fit, man. It's not fit, man. I was like, it doesn't fit. He's like, no, man, it don't fit. And then he sends me pictures. It's not in the vinyl. It's in like regular spandex. Okay.
Oh,
um, he didn't do the knee pads. They were just blank knee pads without the logo on there that I
No
made.
logo on the knee pads?
No logo on the knee pads.
wow.
And he's like, I fix. So he goes to one of the ladies that's in the back at the independent show, and she lets it out a little bit, like lets some of the stitching out a little bit so he can wear it. And when he put it on, he's like, okay, I like now. Some of the gear makers, like that does happen. Like there's some unreliable people, there's people in WWE that they probably have some situations, and there's people in AEW where backstage is a mess with some situations, we all know it's a mess at AEW.
Of course.
See, now I'm gonna get more heat from AEW people.
Oh, that's going to be that. We always say it all the time. The headline's going to be this from the dirt sheets because they don't really watch the entire episode.
Right.
They go, oh,
Right.
yeah,
Rodney said this.
Rodney said this. Tommy
Yeah.
said this. Coach said this. Hey, just get
Yeah.
it right. That's all we're asking. That's all
Yeah.
we're asking.
And there's
you
some
know?
good people that work over there. I got some friends that are over there that do some amazing stuff, but yeah.
real quick, because we've got to get out of it. We try to keep this to around 30 or 45 minutes, and we're definitely going to have you on again because these stories are fascinating. And I think it really tells the story of everything that goes in. I think people can have a much bigger respect for the superstars and all the way down, because we don't think about the process, Rodney. We just see that person on TV and go, oh, they're this big star, but there's so much that goes into it. As you look to the future and as you look to where the business is going and it's exploding once again, how important do you think a role like yours and Miss Sandra and other really good people is going to continue to be?
I think it's going to be more crucial. Like the business is expanding. This year is the most busiest year that I've had since I've started. And I think it's the most busiest for a lot of gear makers that are out there because, like you said, they've expanded their reach in the world. WWE has. AEW is also expanding their pay-per-views. They're doing 12 a year now. WWE is doing what I think around 14 this year. They're doing 14 pay-per-views.
Yeah.
And when you think you're out of the woods, there's always something else that's in there. They need something. And it's going to continue to be that because it's the boom is happening again. It's starting to happen again. And there's more of a demand for people, and now people don't want to be seen with the same stuff on each week. Like the girls, they don't wear the same outfit twice. A lot of the girls don't.
Are you kidding?
Yes, they don't.
Wow. So how much is the cost of one of these? And if they're buying something new every week, or they're ordering 4 or 5 things, what could that cost them?
So it varies. So if you're buying multiple, you're gonna get a deal on it. If you're buying multiple at a time, but if you're getting like one a week, that's gonna be you're gonna be spending like a couple hundred, like $500-600 each
Wow.
week on
Wow.
gear. Yeah.
Wow. That's investing in yourself.
And that's the minimum if you're not all iced out like Natty. Cause like Natty, she just had like bling bling, like that's like thousands of dollars worth of gear right there.
Wow. Wow. You know what's crazy is that we're starting to order gear for Behind the Turnbuckle, our show. Tommy doesn't want to wear the same thing twice. So we may have to come to you. And you said a lot of people don't like to work with their ass out. He works with his ass out every single week.
Every
It's
week.
bananas.
Yeah.
It's bananas. We're gonna need something from you, Rodney, for Big Tommy. Maybe a singlet.
Hey, Rodney, one quick thing. From concept to the finish of the product, how long does it usually take? Like, are you doing stuff for Cody for Survivor Series now? Or are you working on SummerSlam with
Oh,
him?
good
Or how
question.
does that work?
SummerSlam is done. So SummerSlam is done. Survivor Series is done.
What?
The next pay-per-view is done. Like, yeah, we try our best to just stay ahead of it because if Miss Sandra calls me and says, "Boy," I go, "Yes, ma'am. Here you go." And I gotta have it ready, or she needs something, I need to be ahead of it because um, they're doing so many shows right now. They need to have their gear like already on top of it. Like I just finished the Street Profits SummerSlam gear last night, and they're good with it. I finished Cody Rhodes SummerSlam gear last weekend. We already got Survivor Series done for them. I got like I try to stay a couple of shows ahead because it's not like I can sit and just knock out a Cody Rhodes jacket in like
Well,
an hour. No, that's
Takes a
that's like
long
a
time, right? Like,
very long time to get that thing done. So, and I believe Sandra just finished Cody's gear for Money in the Bank. She's gonna be dropping that off to him. She goes to his house and drops everything off because they live in Atlanta. So she'll go visit with him because she's been doing this stuff since she's known him since he was a baby. So
oh my gosh,
like
she's been around for. I mean,
yeah,
she was my
she was,
entire 15 years. She was,
yeah, she was there when
and
I
she's
was
a
there.
little tiny thing. Like I've never
Yeah.
seen a tinier woman have more command backstage than her. I mean, she
yeah.
controls their money. She controls
Mm,
their money. She really, really
yes.
does. How much you on the last question? How much are you on the road during this process, or do you most of it from home?
Oh, I do it all from home. If I'm like out traveling for work, then I'll do it from my computer in my hotel. Or, but I do it from home. I got a couple computers all over the place in my house because I work in computers as well. So, I got my like right now we're on my MacBook. I got my iMac in the other room with all my stuff, and then just kind of juggling it, just making sure because I'm about to get really busy because we're going into, you know, summer. We're in summer now. More parties, more events, more things. So I'm going to be traveling and doing stuff for that. And coach, I'm old school. I still use turntables, coach.
I
Techniques.
figured you would. I figured that you would. Oh, and you're a hustler, man. I say it all the time. You got to have multiple streams of revenue, and
Yep.
creativity knows no bounds. DJ, designer. I mean, I love it, man. Much respect. Much
Yep.
respect. Because it's not easy what you're doing and
That's
trying to
right.
juggle it all.
Yep.
So, will you come back? Because we've got a ton more questions we got to ask you. This has been awesome.
Yep.
Will you
Most
come back
definitely.
down the road?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
Oh man, this has been awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, Rodney Caldwell, one of the lead designers, not just in WWE, also
No.
in AEW, and
Yes.
doing his thing. We'll try to post as much as we can from his Instagram page. If you guys are out there, young talent, you're looking for somebody, this is the man right here. Reach out to him. Him and his team will take care of you. Rodney, thank you very much for
Thank you,
your
sir.
first appearance here on Behind the Turnbuckle.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Tommy, that's exactly why we do this show. I had
God.
no idea how good this was going to be, but the people Rodney has worked with, are you kidding me right now?
The guy has everything from pro wrestling to the top rappers in the world, working on concerts with them, doing things. He's been a DJ, he's a creator, he's a multi-talented dude, and I can't wait to have him back on the show.
Oh, we just kind of scratched the surface, which is what he said as well, as far as where he's gone, where it's going to go, all the different. I remember when we were there, Tommy, there was always at least three
Yep.
that were working backstage, that were working from way before we would get there for TV and way after we would leave. And I think probably more than ever before, because of social media and because they're always out there, that how you present yourself to the world at all times has never been more important. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, coach. This guy represents himself and he's a true professional in every way. This guy goes from designing Cody Rhodes to LA Knight to Jade Cargill to the Street Profits. It just goes on and on, coach. Those are all top superstars, as we all know. And he's a top-notch guy. Great guy.
Also, this week on the War Room, we discussed the Wyatt Six versus the Bloodline. And after that interview, for all of you on social media who said, Coach, why are you making a big deal about the Wyatt Six taking a picture at Whataburger out of character? Well, watch this interview and understand everything that goes into your character. Why would you just throw that away? Why would you say, it doesn't matter? Thousands of dollars, tons of time, creativity, meetings up and down the highway. Yeah, but we'll take a picture of Whataburger. It makes no sense.
Nope.
There's too much that goes into this.
Nope.
All right, Tommy. So next week, guess who we have on the show? Guess who we have on the show next week?
Who do we have? I don't even know.
Okay. My former partner on Sunday Night Heat, the great Al Snow, will be here next week. I cannot wait for that. One of my all-time favorite dudes.
My favorite. What a great guy. I can't wait. Maybe you'll talk about New Year's when we had New Year's.
And what about in 2 weeks, Tommy? Guess who we have on recording on July 16th? It's going to be incredible. Guess who we have?
I know who it is.
Tell
Mr. Vince Russo.
Is it Vince Russo?
Yeah.
He's the man that took Monday Night Raw from here to here. He then left the WWE and went to WCW. He was in the middle of the Monday Night Wars. And we've got him right here on Behind the Turnbuckle 2 weeks from right now.
That's right.
We're just getting started. Tommy, this is so much fun, isn't it?
Yep. It's great. I love it, Coach. We're the best.
All right. That's going to do it for this week's edition of BTT. For Big Tommy C, follow him on social media. For Producer Man, always behind the scenes, I am the coach at the Coach Rules. There's only one show, only one brand. If you truly want to be educated in the pro wrestling business, you come right here. We like to call it Behind the Turnbuckle. Have a great week.
The following announcement has been paid for by Behind the Turnbuckle Plus, the new pod order.